I remember growing up, it was a laughable time.
They almost feel guilty for asking for money for it. Spend an hour in their house and drive 20 minutes to again. It's an hour and 40 minutes time.
The class.
Beasley Workwear now proudly sponsors Trade Legends.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So when I was a kid, when I was about...
We started.
Oh, this isn't another one of your PHC part stories, is it?
When I was about 17, 18, I worked in a quarry, right?
This is you're talking about the magazine upstairs.
No, different story, same place.
Jesus Christ.
So there's a guy there, he's the cleaner, he's called Turk.
Right.
He's this like...
Was he Turkish?
He's quite chubby, really hairy, but every time he gets a cup of tea,
Slurps.
he's like this, he goes... Oh yes! You could just hear him all day. Oh yes! Drinking his tea. The Turk. What a guy.
That's why you've been doing that sound, isn't it?
That's the air.
Until you've been in here, you don't like. Everyone's like, why are these?
I noticed that you're always doing that. Inside show.
Yeah.
It sounds good.
I don't like it. Makes me feel sick.
That's everyone's cue. Go.
Imagine being in bed next to him. You can just hear.
No, it's more like.
And me
Like
watching
this.
in the corner.
Stop it.
My cheeks are too fucking fat.
Do the double one. That's the best one.
It's all them cookies, like.
Them cookies were banging. Rock hard. Banging rock hard.
I'll never be the same. I'll be constipated for a week off that cookie.
They do massive ones. I'm going to send you some.
People talk about cookie now. Here we go.
That's the chocolate chip right there.
Charlotte's blatantly just taking a picture of me going. We ready?
Let's do it.
Because we've only got literally an hour and 15 to get this done.
Easy.
Because you've got to get to for your blue steak, Pete.
I'm actually not coming for dinner tonight.
Aren't you?
No, can't make it.
Serious?
Yeah.
Only book it for you. Never mind.
We're going to McDonald's now.
We'll eat his fucking steak for him, don't you worry. Right, we ready?
Right. Welcome back to the Trade Legends podcast, episode 3, season 2.
Season 2. I think it's episode 11 overall.
2 part 4
What?
or 12.
In other words, we were both wrong, mate. So,
Season 2 anyway. So we got 2 awesome guests for you. Billy, BB the Engineer on Instagram,
Konnichiwa.
and Adam from Tool Monster and AG Electrics.
Yep.
Electrics or electrical?
Electrical.
Electrical. Okay. Who do you want to start with?
I'll leave it with you. We'll go with. Should we mix it up? Because I always start to left, don't I? So we're gonna. We'll let you
let Billy start. So you're a big fan of the show.
Yeah. Number 1 fan, that's why I'm here.
That's why he's got the hoodie on as well. Good man.
Lucky dip.
Right. So normally we ask people to give us your story from the start, how you got into the industry. Now yours is quite different. I don't think we've had anyone on yet who's joined a trade or taken up a trade after leaving the army, which is quite a common thing to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know it happens in the plumbing and heating industry. I don't know if it happens in others, but it seems to be plumbers. I used to work with a guy who was in the army and then became a plumber. So talk us through, your story.
It just seems to be the in thing at the minute, isn't it? Where if you do a certain amount of time in the army, they can give you learning credits or training credits to then go and do a trade you want. And then in the army, people see plumbers making a lot of money.
Right.
Which obviously you are.
I saw BB Plumber making some money.
I'm overpaid.
I didn't know they read the Daily Mail in the army. Fucking hell, what is it, 100 grand a year?
Read, lad. That's where we got that teacher. And that was it. But I joined the army as a plumber.
Oh, okay.
So in like 2008, when I joined, they trained me up to be a plumber, give me all the MVQs, went to Chatham in Kent, learned how to do plumbing, and then joined the real army, went to Germany for 8 years, and then never touched plumbing again. Went to war, did the thing, and then in 2015, they said, right, you need to go back to Chatham in Kent and do your gas. So then I spent 8 months just being a civvy, and I was like, I don't want to be a plumber.
So is this in the army still?
Yeah,
They
so
still
you
tell
can join the Royal Engineers and pick a
Yeah.
trade. You can get chippies, sparkies, mechanical engineers, like surveyors, people coming out with degrees and stuff. So, and that's the way the army is nowadays. They'll try and give you something, so when you leave, you've got something to fall back on.
Yeah, because you see the adverts on the TV or whatever, and it's like be a Royal Marine or whatever. You wouldn't imagine that people are going in there
No,
as plumbers, and
you've got the Royal Marines who are actually doing what they do, and the Infanteers and that. So they find it hard because they don't get given a trade. They just get told to do whatever they do, shoot things, and that's not really viable on Civvy Street, is it? So I'm just say, well, I'm a level 3 in loading weapons and just unloading weapons, mate. Oh, Jesus Christ,
give him a job.
This is Asda, lad. Jesus Christ. I can spray it up if you want.
You want to see me stack? Yeah, you want to see me stack shelves, though, don't you?
So people watching, how does that work? You go and you do the regular army training that everyone else is doing, and also alongside that, you learn a trade.
Yeah, so what I did was like 3 months learning. So day 1, week 1 in Lichfield, 50 blokes in a corridor. This is the real army. Wake up, turn your phones off, your mum's no longer wiping your ass. And then they basically own you for a while. And then after that, I go to Kent, so somewhere down in Kent or Gibraltar Barracks, I think it is. And they teach you how to do combat engineering.
Do you not know where you went because there's a bag over your head while they're driving you?
The whole thing was a bag over 11 years.
So the bag off, where am I?
You can't say that. Lawsuits gone through. But then combat engineering, so 10 weeks down there learning how to blow stuff up, find mines, boats.
Everything you need as a gas engineer.
Yeah. And then after that, it's almost like, right, the real army training stops, you're going to go to Chatham and you're going to become a civ. You're basically a civvy, but in green kit, and you're just learning how to bend pipe, hang radiators, full central heating systems.
And is that like an army barracks? They've got their own college?
An army barracks, but it's almost like a college.
Right.
So in the morning you'll do phys, so you'll do maybe an hour or 2 PT, and then...
Sounds right on my street, this stuff.
You missed your calling, mate.
So you get to have cold showers as well?
No, but did you have to cut your hair?
No, it's one shower. And
Did you have to cut your hair because this is a big...
You got to cut your hair.
You're fucked, mate.
You can't have that beard either.
Fucked.
And then you go to the real army, and then you forget that they've given you all these MVQs, and then 5, 6, 7 years down the line, they say you need to come back and do the next level. And in the plumbing industry, that's gas. And you're like, I don't want to go back. And then you go back and you do it, and you get given your gas qualifications. And then most people will go, I can become a civvy with this. And then that's when the transition starts. So they'll maybe not want to go back being a soldier and then think, right, I've got a qualification here to go on Civvy Street and earn some money. And that's what they do. But then there is a lot of lads who weren't Royal Engineers and weren't as lucky as me. So the Infanteers, which is a lot of them on Instagram, Royal Marines, Parachute Regiment, all that kind of stuff, who have to do it as they're leaving the army. So
okay, so they have to have a plan.
Yeah.
Right, I'm leaving soon, what am I going to do? Then they have to train.
Yeah. And then the army will give you funding towards that as well. So when I left, they give me like a couple of grand to go and get my commercial qualifications. So, and then you pay a certain amount, and then they'll pay, rather than just dumping you out on the street, because there's a lot of soldiers on the street just a bit clueless, homeless. They will try and help you out, so that's a good thing.
It's obviously a massive transition coming out of the army. And
even when you, like you said, that you go into it doing one thing, you then get pushed into another thing, and then to switch the mind back to, hold on a minute, I've got to go back to that, must be a bit like,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine that. Like, you hold on a minute, I'm used to doing this now, and then you're getting told, actually, you got to go back to...
So I think I left, in training, I left Kent in England in May, and then flew to Germany. Come September, so we're talking May, June, July, August, September. 4 months later, I'm in Afghanistan. Like, what? I was still a kid, like.
Yeah.
But that's what you signed up for.
Yeah.
If you don't want it, then don't get it. And then you just, that's it, really. You just, once you're in the army, it's kind of like they own you. You become, you're in the mould until one day, like me, I woke up and thought, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I got to corporal, in charge of a couple of blokes, and I was just like, I need to further myself. So and I've got a qualification in plumbing. Let's go try it out. Fired a CV out there and said, look, the army will pay me for the next 6 months. Do you want a bloke for free with the certificates, but no idea what's going on?
I mean, do you think, like, looking at your work now, because obviously the transferable skills from the army that I would sort of look at from the outside, because I've had no army training at all, is that, you know, you can get up in the morning.
Yeah.
You can probably organise yourself. You know how to polish a pair of boots and pick yourself up and crack on.
He's watched Full Metal Jacket.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like, those are the transferable skills where it's sort of like, you know, to go into a trade, you've like, yeah, there are some trades where they're not organised or whatever, but do you think that's helped you?
Yeah.
In that sense of, like, you know, that,
because you've got that discipline, haven't you? Like, the main thing of being in the army is just being disciplined and learn how to take discipline as well. Because when you first start, you might think you're Jack the Lad, the mouthy guy, but they will literally break you down to the bottom. Not physically, but they'll just mould you, so they'll reshape you as a person, man, woman, or whatever you want to be, and then you'll just become institutionalised in a way, and everything you do will evolve around the army, because you work 24 hours a day, you're getting paid 24 hours a day. Like, you can't just say, like in a civvy job in Tesco's, you can go in and say, I'm done. This is crap. In the army, you can't. You got to give them a year's notice. So I gave him a year's notice, and then that was it. I was just like, look, I want to further myself and just try something new. But my dad's in the army as well, so that was the hardest phone call, phoning him.
are you from because some family, a bit like obviously you with the plumbing and certain generations, like you tend to follow sometimes what
the whole family, yeah, it's all police officers, narcos, and soldiers. So my uncle was a Coldstream
So don't
guard.
come round and rob your house. Any burglars listening?
His van's a tank. Get into that.
But yeah, so my dad spent like my whole life in the army. So when I pulled out of college, he was just like, right, by the neck, straight down the careers
Did you grow up in like army?
in Germany?
Yeah. Because
So
a lot of families grow up obviously on those sites.
It's coming to a point now where I'm like 33, but I've spent 16 years in Germany.
Mm.
So I'm coming to the point now where
Do you speak German?
I'm bisschen. Nah.
No. I thought
My grandma's German as well.
I thought we were going to hear Können Sie ein Taxibusch there.
But yeah, so I grew up in Germany and then went back to England, did all this army stuff, and then ended up getting posted back.
Typical Brits, that, isn't it? Oh, I've lived there 16 years. Do you speak the language? No. They all speak English. This, isn't it?
It's like when you go to Spain, innit? You don't have to speak Spanish. All the expats out there just like,
Yeah.
No speaky Espanol.
Orders his food off the children's menu.
Just speak slowly. Just point at the pictures. Big Mac, chicken burger.
Can I have a water?
Agua de minerale. It is tell boy, isn't it, Rodney? Bonjour now, Rodney.
But
So-
it got to a time where I got to like 10 years and I just thought, I'm a corporal now. Once you get to sergeant, the kind of rule of thumb is you're a made man. So you get to sergeant, you get your half pension, 12 years, banging the table, and then you're basically halfway. So what people do is go for the next 12 years and stay in for 24 years, and then that's it, isn't it? So I just thought, right, sack the half pension off. I'll go and try my luck in the plumbing game, and I got lucky.
Do you miss any of it?
Miss a lad, yeah.
So when you get to 12 years and you get a pension,
You get a half pension, yeah, and then you get a bit
but
of
you
pocket
left
money.
at 10,
Yeah, well, 11, yeah.
11. And
So I had a year to push, but my mind was just in pieces. Like I just couldn't.
Yeah. And that was your choice to leave. And do they? I don't know anything about this, but do they make it hard for you? Do they try and persuade you not to leave? Obviously, they've helped
they do
you
their
out
best to try and keep you in. Like there is a stigma about it where once you're in the army, they will tell you there's no jobs out on Civvy Street, mate. There's no point leaving. You know what I mean? But you've got to just take the plunge and get out there, because there's loads of work out there. And if you have on your CV that you're ex-forces, you're disciplined, you've got a skill set, you've got the mentality, you've got ambition, you stuck the army out for 10 years, they're just like, right, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It sounds like they help you out with the trade.
Yeah.
And they encourage you to better yourself with that.
One thing is they will not let you leave without a plan.
Right.
So that year you've got for leaving is all about planning your future. So you go for a lot of interviews, you go a lot of trade shows, you almost get given like a personal aid to start putting you on courses.
I think there's been a lot of bad publicity where people have just been left to walk out, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe they put more focus on it. I don't know, but
Potentially, yeah. I can't speak for any other bloke. Like, I'm speaking about myself, so...
Yeah. I guess it depends what experience you had in the army when you come out. If it's affected you in a bad way, a negative way, and you've got mental health issues or anything like that, and you're the massive change from being regimented, this is your day every day for 10 years, then you come out and you can do whatever you want. Some people
it's
might
a shock,
go...
mate. Like,
But
I
if
got home and I was just like... I switched off.
yeah. I think
Shave, then cut my hair. I just like, I can do literally all I want.
I
I'm
think
going to
the-
go get stuck in traffic, like.
But the thing is as well, like even sort of the smaller things where, you know, you've got your bank account and whatever in the army, but you're not having to like always think about your bills or whatever, because that stuff is pretty part and parcel, isn't it? If you're staying on site and stuff like that, you'd just be thinking about your work all the time. So actually, people I'd imagine would come out and feel like, well, actually, what, you know,
Bit lost.
yeah,
People, they get very lost because you go to work on a tank park, which is, you can see out your bedroom window, and all 50, 60, 70 of you live in that block. You can see where you work every day, and then you all knock off together and go back to the block, and you're there 24 hours a day with each other. You can't get away. So if you don't like someone, then it can be quite... But that's how people in the army become a brotherhood, because you never leave each other's side, and then you carry that mentality to wherever you go. Maybe it'd be war, on exercise, or just... It's a brotherhood that you won't break, and you see it all the time.
So, ladies and gents, if you want to save big on some big name brands, then Trade Legends is the place to do that. Head on over to www.tradelegends.uk/discounts.
I mean, looking back on that then now, I mean, what? Obviously, you mentioned that you miss sort of the camaraderie with the other guys on duty or whatever. I mean, do you see any of that when do you work with anybody else when you're out plumbing, or is it just do you work solo on your own? Or
There's a couple of us, on the firm, and it is close. But there is like, even on the social media side at the minute, there's like what can you call it, Pete? Can't call it a click, can you?
Don't call it a click, because somebody will be sticking an Insta story of you guys on.
It's almost like
I'm not in the click.
I feel it now. We've got like a group of lads where we come together.
It's a community. You've got the
Yeah.
plumbers. There's a plumbing community, and there's guys that form friendships through having never met each other, through their connection with the work they do. You know, we've got a really good group chat, guys all around the country. We're all mates. We've had a few meetups now. But yeah, there is a community. But like when I used to work with Kev, like, he was teaching me how to do plumbing, but he became my best mate because I spent every day with him. And you have a laugh, you have site banter's some of the best. And then for me, that's the worst thing now, because I work on my own. I've not got that during the day, like I'm on my own. But then Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, whatever groups you're in with like-minded people, your peers, they become your like workmates, and you're chatting all day and you're saying, oh, Billy, I've got this job. I ain't seen this boiler before. And you say, yeah, I did that the other week. This is what's wrong with it. So you get knowledge, you're you've got someone to talk to, if you've got a problem, if you're having a shit day. It's just
It's quite similar to the army because you get loads of random reprobates from all over the world, but you've all got that common interest where you're in the army, so you become brothers and you get on with each other, and you think, on Civvy Street I'll never be mates with him. But then I leave, I go on Civvy Street, and now I've got this group together, and I'm thinking I won't be mates with him, but I am really good mates with him because you've got the common interest in plumbing.
That's what all my mates say about me. They were like, if we met you now, none of us would be friends, because we've been friends for like 33 years. They were like, if I met you now, there is no way I'd be mates with you.
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks guys. Cheers. He's like that though.
But we've got a wide range of different people, haven't we? And we all have different interests. We can be almost horrible to each other with banter, but we all get on. We talk every single day. Everyone says morning in the morning.
There's days when no one's getting attacked, I feel like, what's going on here? Like, we're
Up
at
your
war.
step, Billy.
Yeah,
and then
and I just go, we at war. Yeah, that's right. Pete, you're getting it today. Craig's getting it. Everyone's getting it.
So I'm just trying to. I've never been in the army. I'm just trying to get some. So you work where you live. When you knock off, let's say you knock off at 6-7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Have you got like a canteen or is there a pool table, TV?
There is places where
like
you
a
can,
communal area.
Yeah, there is. Like over in Germany, there were charities that made rooms and spaces like that, so lads could switch off and go play pool, go watch Sky TV, just chill out for a bit rather than staying in their rooms. And I've noticed it nowadays. The accommodation in the modern army, like I used to share a room with 4 or 5 blokes, so they were tight. We knew everything about each other. But now it's all single man rooms. So at 5 o'clock, wherever they knock off, they can shut that door and lock their way to the next morning.
Yeah.
And that's why I think there's a lot of mental health issues come off that as well, because the army now is less cliquey and it's more of a job. Back in the day, it used to be, I don't know, you just all stuck together, all lived together, all worked together, and it was...
Well, if you've had one of you's had a shit day, then somebody else are probably more likely to pick up on it when you shut the door.
Yeah, definitely. When you shut the door, you can't, can you? Mm. And even in training you used to have 20-man rooms. Mm. I've heard in training now they've got their own room, which is not like, it doesn't instill that.
You get a good night's sleep though, don't you?
Yeah, you can get to wherever you want to get to, but you can do in a 20-man room.
So you spoke about having a plan. What was your plan when you left?
Mine was a bit different because I went a bit cuckoo, if that's politically correct.
How old were you as well then when you? So what age were you when you came back to do your gas part before you left the army, and then what age were you then when you?
2015, so...
Testing your maths. Quick maths.
33 minus 7 or something.
What?
33 minus 7?
Yeah.
26.
26.
I see how my head's gone.
He's had 2 beers and a cup of tea and he's gone.
26, did my gas, and then a couple of months later went back to Afghanistan again, totally forgot it all. And then after that I come back and it was kind of the end of Afghanistan, and it was just like stale. It was just 2 years up north in Cattrick, just like, this is boring, just going to the gym twice a day, and I thought I need to...
He'd be all over it.
Oh, I was bigger than Pete. I just thought I need to be active. I've there's 2 bills up there, so I need to be doing something all the time. So I just thought, right, phone my dad, I'm done. And he went, if you're done, you're done. And then, but
how was your dad with you? Was your dad awkward with you, or did he get it?
He knew straight away, because how it works in the army and in any other, maybe even in this office now, if you have one sour apple, it just shuts the show down, doesn't it? It makes everyone just like, if you have one person who doesn't want to come to work, doesn't have that mentality of like getting up in the morning and love going to work, then it has that effect on everyone in the office, doesn't it, potentially? So in the army that happens as well. If someone doesn't want to come to work and doesn't play ball, it just ruins the ranks. Everything just falls to pieces. Everyone's arguing, fighting, backstabbing, and that's what you don't want. And then I just thought to myself, if I don't like going to work, I'm not going to work properly. I'm in charge of lads here, and if I'm not a role model, then I'm done. So that was it.
Okay.
And it was a weird thing. I packed my kit and I just left. And that's not what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you not say goodbye to anybody that you...
Said goodbye to lads, but I was done. And then I just went home and I was just in bits. I don't know why my head was just shot to pieces, and I was just like, like, you need to go see a doctor. So I went to the doctor, and he was just like, you're never going back.
Right. I mean, would you say then that was obviously from that last part of going to Afghanistan? Would you say that that's what?
I don't think it's directly linked to that, because I had problems with mental health before that as well, where I had a really bad turn, and I did something stupid, and then it ended up me like getting sectioned for like 4 weeks in Basingstoke. So I was just
was this during the army time?
Yeah, this is while I was in the army. Yeah, so I just.
I mean, the thing is now, like when we talk about mental health, like I feel like it's way more acceptable. Obviously, the time, you know, like.
Oh, them wasn't. No, I got hammered. I got hammered by like the lads.
Yeah.
That's why I was Wild Bill for ages until, no offence, the next guy had a problem.
Yeah.
Because in the army back in the day, we're talking only 10 years ago, everyone was macho. It was one big, who's the hardest, who's the fastest,
the
who
biggest
can
dick
fight them all.
swinger.
And naked bar at 10 o'clock, who's got the biggest cake is going to win. You know.
I mean, the thing is then from that side, obviously, like you've got your lads mates who sort of like are still piling at you, not obviously because like they want to make it worse for you, but that's just banter at the same time. But I mean, you know, how does the army handle that sort of thing? Was the army good with you with understanding that, or was it still back in those days where people still didn't like now I feel like, you know, if you rang me and said, look, I'm having a shit time, I'd be like, you know, do you need some help? Like I feel like that conversation could be had now.
I don't, because the way it worked with me was almost like I did it when I was away, and then I got Kazivac'd all the way back to UK, and then almost got transferred to the NHS, the civilian side of it, and then next thing I know, I've got no shoelaces, no nothing, and I'm in Basingstoke, locked down for 4 weeks, going even more mental, and I'm just like, how am I even here? And then they let you go, and then I'm on leave, staying at mum and dad's house for months on end, till the army get in touch and say, right,
it's time to come back.
But then the trust is gone, isn't it? Because I shouldn't say this, but at that time I felt weak, and I did something that affected a lot of people mentally and physically, so the trust had gone. I went from being a really good soldier to, well, if you did that,
can we rely on him type of thing?
You're not going to get a weapon for a while. But then a couple of months later, it's all back to normal. You're back on the wagon again, you're back.
Did they
They look after you. This is the thing. The army will. There's no disrespect to the army. I left for my own reasons, and I love the army. And I'll always tell a young lad, if you're going down the wrong route, join the army. They'll switch you on, but they will look after you in every way possible. Just ask for the help. But as lads and boisterous squaddies, sometimes we won't ask for help.
But like you said, you know, so Afghan's going on.
Yeah.
So you're high alert. You're obviously at high stress level all the time. There's all this stuff's going on. And then that stops. Have you got nothing to do? You've got work to do, but it's menial tasks. So maybe you're the change in having nothing to do.
It's a killer for a lot of lads and a lot of women as well, because you go from, let's say, 6 months in Afghanistan on the patrol bases on the front line, attached to the infantry, fighting every day, out on patrol every day, to then going back to camp where you're locked down for maybe a week to decompress, get used to being back on planet Earth. And you go to Cyprus for 3 days as well, where you're allowed your first beer. So your first beer is under control.
Yeah.
You're allowed 4. And then it's like decompression stage. Once that's done, they'll fly you back to UK or Germany, and then you'll spend a week on camp, get used to the surrounding area. Because if they just flew you back straight from war, blokes would just be out on base, still at war, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But some blokes can't switch off. And then some blokes miss the adrenaline factor of being at war as well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's quite tense, isn't it? You've got that fact that you're in Afghanistan, there's a war going on, but then all of a sudden, a week later, you're back in Germany in a room on your own going, right, what now?
Yeah, what now?
So just go to the gym, or let's go sweep the tank park. And like you love the adrenaline, don't you? And I think that's the problem with me sometimes. I get told a lot, I'm always high or I'm always low. I've got to find the middle bit.
It's totally different, but I always have to have, I'm always doing something.
To keep you.
Yeah. I always have to be doing something and I can never switch off. But I can imagine if there was nothing to do after being at that level of alertness and stress.
I think you'd enjoy the army for the physical factor, but then also the fact of the down times is quite long. Like there's a lot of time where you're actually doing nothing.
Yeah, well,
but it's up to the person to do something.
But having to pick yourself up and then you go right up and then you right down and up and down.
And you can see why a lot of people have issues with mental health, don't you? Because of what they see and what they go through, and then adjusting. It's always hard to adjust, isn't it? Sometimes, but
I mean,
you sign up, don't you? So you know what's involved until you actually come back.
I mean, we've had a couple of people on. Obviously, Ash Mahoney Brickworks. He had an incident where somebody committed suicide in front of him, and obviously jumped off a bridge. And we were sort of like, well, how do you sort of pull yourself back from that? Which he just said it was just purely time for him. So I mean, for you, I mean, like, you know, do you find that you have to talk to somebody about it? Have you done stuff like that, or is it just some of the stuff you just blocked out? Or
you will see stuff, and I have seen stuff, and a lot of people have seen stuff, but that's not to be talked about. But
with your because you freely admitted, obviously, like mental health, like maybe a bit of depression and stuff like that. Like, what helps you? So if somebody's listening or watching now, what advice could you give to somebody from being?
My mum woke me up. She said something that's pretty ruthless, and she said, don't be one, just don't put yourself in that situation, because it's you and you can take yourself out of it. So when the mind attacks, you got to attack back. And I tell this to people all the time. If you think something's negatively affecting you, you got to try and take yourself out of that situation. I know it might be hard because it might be work and you need money to live, but if you can start planning on finding another job, focusing on that, then maybe you can get rid of the stress there. Or there's something you don't like, maybe weight's another one, isn't it? A lot of people get down with their weight. Maybe go out for a little walk, and then it's all about, I don't know, I always say attack when the mind attacks. Stay on top of it, because if you let it building up, you will lose, because the more you dig the hole, the harder it is to get out. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But everyone's mind thinks differently, so.
Well, different things. I always say to you, when somebody gives me some shit on social media, it's always on a day when I've had a right stinker, you know. And normally I just back comments off like that, but like that comment when my cousin had just died of cancer, some guy goes, "Oh, I don't care that your cousin's just died. I need this product sorted," and like stuff like that. And you just think, do you know what I mean? But it's sort of, you know, it's interesting to listen to what you have to say about that, because we have people that sort of come on and talk about like the mental health and stuff like that, but we haven't had anybody from the army side that's sort of gone the opposite route. So they've come. Most people have just gone straight into trades, and then it's trades, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to listen to that scenario where it's been the army and then transferring into trades. I mean, you know, plumbing then now. So what age were you when you got into
leaving the army?
Yeah.
4 years ago now.
And you're 33?
You look 33.
Well, I didn't know what you were going to say then. Sometimes I went.
I don't look 33.
I go 30. Just in case somebody goes, I'm 29, and you're like 30. Yeah, 29.
I say 30. Cut that, put 30 on there.
So 27 then, 27ish, and you?
Yeah. Just fired the CV out there. Said, I'll come work for free. The army are going to pay my wages for the next 6 months or so, and just got snapped up, and then learn the process, learn how to plumb, how to be an engineer, and then went and worked on social housing for 2 years, which was a proper brain rattler.
Yeah.
In the deep end, it's got to be fixed first time every time, and you just see again another how certain people live.
I mean, that's another one as well, because some of the social housing stuff that people work on as well is, you think, how do people live in those scenarios in some of the places that you go to?
Yeah, you got to remain professional all the time, haven't you? Like, there's no filming, there's just no nothing. But the social housing firm that I worked on was a zero policy, no filming, no talking, GDPR. They've got rights. They might be in social housing for a reason, but yeah, it's some of them some of them are in a bad way, and some of them are vulnerable, and you gotta treat them as your own, really, and as a private customer, as a normal human being. But it's hard. Some of the states you see, some of the properties, some of the ways people live, it can affect you a little bit. So
It can be quite stressful as well.
but yeah, because some of them it's your fault their boiler's not working, and you're the man or woman to go around there. You're going to take the hit for that, and they're already living their kind of stressful life, and you're the tradesman. Really
You didn't have much luck then leaving to get away from the army and then getting
2 years. I thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't.
ringing the army. Can you take me?
I can't take yours as well. And then I just said, done. I was going to go on my own, and I thought, right, let's add some more stress to the bar.
Yeah.
And then the boss approached me and said, do you want to come work on the caravans? And I said, yeah, sweet. It's nice and sunny. You can go work along the beach all the time. They lied to me.
Yeah.
I'm under caravans, covered in mud. I'm wet. I'm cold. I'm crying and moaning.
So obviously you're living over on the
Norfolk coast,
on the east side.
in Bovan.
Did you go straight there when you left the army? Because you said you were from where you from originally?
I'm from up northwest Warrington.
My missus is from Warrington.
But you got to remember, like my family, where my dad's in the army, so we travelled everywhere. So I'm not really from up there because I've lived all around Germany and stuff like that. So I'm just a nomad, man.
Yeah.
I'm like a traveller.
So when you got that job, were you already living in Norfolk? Were you already?
Yeah, I was already living
okay.
there. Yeah. So and it just that's how it landed. Now I work on the coast where it's all just fun and games
And laid back lifestyle.
Oh,
Have you got a plan for future?
Yeah, that I will be my own boss one day. As a matter of fact, that's a fact, isn't it? I've left the army for the freedom, so I might as well carry on the journey. But I'm still learning the game, like I'm learning the trade every day. So the more I learn, the better stead it puts me in the future as well.
Because that's good for an apprentice as well. Is like you get apprentices that as soon as they've finished their apprenticeship, they're like, yeah, I know everything now.
Yeah, you got to have a plan. You got to save some money up.
Yeah.
So you got a bit of a cushion. Obviously, you're going to want a van.
You got
There's a lot of outlays. Tools, van. Excuse me. You need tools, van. You've got to build a client base because you can't go on your own without customers. So you can do all that while you're still working. But yeah, you do need a plan.
It's having that the slow transition across, isn't it?
Yeah.
And leaving a good job. I like my job now. It's pertinent. I'd happily just stay here, but it's the fact that I want to, in a way, progress. I want to do my own thing, see if I can run a business, see if I can be my own boss.
Yeah.
And
I think
the
the dream scenario is you leave your current employer on good terms, and then you're now self-employed, Billy the engineer, and he rings you up and says, Billy, I've got a big job on, can you come and help me? And you go and work for him again, and he does work for you, and if he can't make a job, he passes it on to you. Whereas if you leave on bad terms, I mean, you don't want to be, when I say like build a client base, you don't want to be stealing your...
See, when I leave that caravan world, I've never seen a caravan again.
Don't go
if someone offers me a free caravan holiday in Maldives, I'll go, is there a van? No.
I'll speak to you in 2 years. You'll be like, I'm on mobile homes now.
What I mean by build a client base...
you hear me like,
you might start doing work for friends and family at the weekends, and then you say to them, right, I'm thinking of going on my own, and they recommend you to their friends and family. You don't steal the customers off your current employer.
Pete does not endorse stealing anybody's client base.
You said that on another podcast, didn't you, where people kind of steal work about it. And
I also would say if you are an apprentice and you're thinking about, you've got your level 3 coming up, you're going to finish in the summer, and then you can leave, you have got to think about repaying the person who's put you through college.
And if you do leave, just do it off your own bat. It's so much more satisfying. Yeah, okay, you probably get somebody approach you, but just don't pinch a client base. That's the easy thing to do.
Once you've made your plan, say you get your plan, you finish level 3, in 2 years' time I want to go self-employed. You've got 2 years then to save some money up, do your work at the weekend, build your client base at the weekend, and you'll still, that whole time, you'll be earning money and you'll be gaining valuable experience. There's no point rushing it, I don't think, anyway.
No, there isn't, is there? Like you say, you don't bite the hand that feeds you, because you never know what can happen, do you? it's a good job, it's a good team. And what happens if I did go on my own and it didn't work out?
Yeah, you want the option to maybe I can go back.
So when I left social housing, I left on good terms as well. And they pestered me for ages to come back. And I was like, nah, I'm happy here, but you still got that. You know what I mean? So now you'll have that chain all the way back.
Don't burn your bridges,
a fallback. No, you don't. Because you don't know. It's a small world, the plumbing industry. And Norfolk, everybody knows everyone in Norfolk. They're all one big family. Oh, mate, Dave's got about 8 fingers.
Crack me up.
He can say that because he's from there. My dog went missing last night, so the missus says you better go and look for him. So I was out there for 2 hours, couldn't find him. So she said you better look harder. So I had my head shaved, got some tattoos, I still couldn't find the fucker.
Yeah. I'm going to rescue you anyway in a minute because there's too much plumbing talk going on, isn't there?
Get the
So
electrician.
we'll come over to you then, Ad. So take us back. Obviously, we've been through sort of how Billy came into the plumbing world. With the stuff with the army, just take us back with a little bit of like, how did you get into? You're obviously an electrician.
Yep.
You know, how did you get into being an electrician, not being a plumber or not being a carpenter? Like, just give us a bit of the background story for yourself.
I was brought up on a farm actually.
Yeah.
So from a young age we were really taught like, right, you're getting out in the back of the spud harvester, one.
Yeah.
You know, so working was sort of bred into us. You know, so we. When I was 15, my dad says, right, you're going to get some work experience. Went with a plumber for a week. I was 15. Yeah.
Never doing that again.
We were a plumber and we're first fixing the house. And I was like, man, this guy drinks tea all day. Don't do this. And then...
Pete, was it?
Yeah, and then went with a local sparking firm. And the guys were all sort of early 20s and they were
Drinking champagne all day.
yeah. No, and the guys were good crack and loved it. So basically that started my journey off in the electrical industry. Even when I was an apprentice, when I was right from the second year, I was always out doing homers and I was always really keen to get more and more experience. The company I was doing work with on McDonald's work and a lot of commercial and a good bit of domestic as well. So then when I qualified, I pretty much done what you said not to do.
Right.
As in, I tried
Stole the client basically.
No, I didn't do that. I started doing, so I went self-employed. It was it was definitely the wrong thing to do. As in, I thought I knew a lot more than what I did, and it didn't really work out how I planned. So then went and worked, went and got employed by a big sort of sparkling firm. And was there for a good few years.
Just to interrupt you, so when you say, just for people watching that are thinking about going on their own, well, I would say prematurely, what went wrong?
I think it's the business side of things, isn't it?
I
like,
mean,
being on the tools, I'd imagine is like second nature to you guys.
Yeah, but actually, was it the actual running of the business that you struggled
I think
with?
it was a mixture of like dealing with clients at the start, not knowing how much to bill, when how to chase money, not actually knowing as much as I thought I knew. Back then I went and worked at like another local firm, bigger firm, doing a lot more commercial and stuff. A couple of years down the line, a local factory, I was still doing stuff at nights. I was doing work with them in their food factory. Then basically the opportunity came up to start AG Electrical, as it was then. So it was class. We went about 6 months. We had a month, with another electrician on board and an apprentice because of the workload that they had within the factory. It was really, really fortunate that they took a chance on me back then. And then within about 6 months of that, a builder who we had done work with in my previous firm again, when I was a foreman on that firm, they had phoned me. There was the previous company I worked for and them had parted ways. They phoned me, and again, really, really fortunate that William, the builder, he took a real chance on me, and basically that really propelled our company. We went from basically doing stuff in the factory to having about within 2 years having about 10, 15 guys. Wow. We'd done a hotel and a couple of restaurants and stuff, but then And then over the last couple of years, we currently now have about just under 40 guys working to us. We do like hotels, restaurants, a lot of industrial factory work. We sort of built that side of the business as well. So no, it's been really, really good.
Did you find once you get in with like a restaurant or a pub or a factory, do you get more of that work through recommendations from them, or did you go looking for it?
Yeah, so we really capitalised on that niche market. So it did. So we just got really, really good at doing that sort of fit out end. And then obviously you might have one guy that owns maybe 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they have one restaurant, they're probably going to have another, or
generally
a bar,
speaking. And then back home and like in Belfast, everybody knows everybody. So like, you know, Sammy knows Billy and Billy knows Turlock, and they're all, you know, so so word spreads quite quick. Yeah, I know, this is good. So that's where I'm at now. Like.
Did you find, because obviously you mentioned restaurants and stuff, obviously with COVID, did you find that some of your electrical work dried up, or has it just carried on because you picked it up from? So when that initial thing, when all COVID happened, we're like, oh crap, what am I going to do here? Yeah. So, but look, for like a week we were down to like 5 guys, and then literally a lot of we're very, very fortunate. A lot of projects continued on with us. We sort of a lot of guys in the construction industry, especially in the commercial end, they just propelled on and kept going through it. So we're fairly fortunate that way. In fact, we probably grew through it. So we have so I think a good bit of our customer base, like we like I'm a Christian, right? And when I first started the company, I wanted to build the company on Christian morals, and how I mean that is like I wanted to be honest with everybody, wanted to be fair with everybody, wanted to have like integrity and stuff, and like that sort of filtered down to how we've sort of treated our guys. So like our employees, like everybody gets treated exactly the same from our first years, which are starting out, to our guys in the office. Everybody's treated equally and fairly, and I think that sort of worked really, really well for us. So it has, and we've like apprentices are key for us. Like we focus a lot on our apprentice scheme. Now it's took a lot of time to build it to where it is, and building that up. We haven't always got it right, but we've got a good place now. I think it's really, really key. How many apprentices have you got? Have you got many, or
about 10 apprentices?
Yeah. And is that something then for yourself that you think, like actively, like you want to encourage within the business? Is that like you're always looking for more? Because some companies will take them on, and then it's sort of like, I've got 10 now, but then next year it's only 2. Is that something where you want it to grow so you have more and more? Or is it just something that you take 10 on a year and then that's it? Or
so I think for us there's a massive shortage in most trades. Yeah, there's a shortage of tradesmen, and we have found the best way is to home grow our talent. So we're trying to build it a bit like a football team, where you're bringing the guys through from the youth. Now, I know in a sort of bigger firm, apprentices can get lost. So what we've really tried to hone in on is bringing the guys through and really focusing on their skills and doing assessment, doing our own internal assessments as well.
So what do you look for, like? I know there's so many people that sit there and watch, especially the apprentices here, and they're sort of like, oh, I've been applying or asking people, they come through to you and they say, oh, PB, do you know anybody that's looking for somebody in the Dagenham and Redbridge area, or wherever it is? Like, what do you, as an employer of 40 people, what would you look for in an apprentice? What would you say? they have to sort of show or provide for you to hire them?
I
Or
would
for you
say
to-
main thing is like we will get application. We'll be probably doing our applications for September intake in April time here. So at least we'll be looking for guys who are really committed to turn up on time. They're looking for their when they turn up to us, they're showing consistency in their grades and stuff. You know, yeah.
So just making sure, like I say to a lot of people that come to work here, is like the only thing I cannot do is make you get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah. So
The rest,
the rest.
yeah.
I've got a question. So you see it quite a lot. A kid's mum will write the letter asking for them for a job.
Or drop it into the place.
Now, you might say no. You want the kid himself or herself to write that letter. But if they're not confident enough, or they've got, I don't know, they're just not.
Okay, to write letters different, I suppose, but to come, definitely someone phoning in. If their mum or dad phones in, generally, it's them not taking their own
They're not,
initiative.
I'd see that as you're not interested enough. Like, even if somebody turned up and they had a CV and it wasn't written the best, or there was certain things that were like, you know, wrong about it, but somebody came to the door, they were polite, they were well dressed, they chased me on the phone, have you got any work?
Yeah.
You know, I really want to come and work here. I'd be like, do you know what, actually,
All I'm thinking though is the anxiety of not having enough confidence to actually do that and not being able to do that. Getting your mum to make the initial inquiry, and then once you get that opportunity, then you get to blossom and come out of your shell. Because I had an apprentice, he didn't say a word to me, but the kid he could be the next best electrician, but he's not got the confidence to ask for the job.
I could understand that maybe.
Is it that much, you know?
Because you're introvert, I'm not, so obviously I'm trying to understand it from that side. But if you're 15, 16, maybe you could understand that. But when you're 18, 19, like, you should be there.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting anybody to turn up and be like, hello, I'm Billy. Way, give me the job.
But there's different levels, at 15, 16, there's different levels of maturity, especially girls are more mature at a younger age. But I'm just thinking, I wouldn't want it to hold someone back if they've just not got the confidence. But then again, writing a letter, do you need that much confidence to write a letter in asking?
Writing a letter, you don't. Like, even like here, like when I first
Nathan, did your mum get you this job?
I chased him, actually, didn't I? I think it's like a.
Did you steal him?
It's like, cometh from Leeds, cometh.
He sometimes lets me outside now.
But no, I mean, like, you know, even Charlotte G, Jack, when they applied here, you know, I think if you want the job, you know, like, I won't discuss stuff that we talked about with different people in their interviews, but like, if you want the job, I mean, G was working somewhere, you were working nights, weren't you? So G was working nights, he still sent his CV in, still, even though like he'd worked nights.
You can tell somebody's dead.
Came in for the interview.
So you just want to pick up a bit of passion, a bit of motivation, something that.
Because there's some kids come in and their parents are phoning in, their parents are telling them to go for the interview, they're going, right, you need to be an electrician. Like, no,
Like,
I want you to want to be an electrician.
Yeah.
We can give you the skills, but you need to come with the.
So if you're watching this and you're an apprentice and you're thinking about ringing up a firm, you want to be like, I want to be an electrician.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be good at it. I'm a hard worker. I'll be there on time.
Everybody understands that certain people are quiet, and you know, certain people don't have the same confidence as others. But you have to show willingness, I think, to like, you know, I want to come and work here. That's not, in my eyes, that's not hard to say, because if you're enthusiastic and passionate about something, you should be able to.
Yeah.
You've got to not come across too confident, too brash.
Like us,
too
Billy.
roadman. You've got to give them something to see. You know, you see potential in every one of your apprentices, and you go, he's going to be good, she's going to be good, and that's what you want, and that's what.
Because really, they're
going
for quite a rare opportunity. Apprenticeships are quite rare.
They're getting more. They're needed more than ever,
guys.
But they're getting more rare.
Guys are coming out freshly qualified or getting similar pay to a junior doctor.
Yeah.
You know, it's massive opportunities for a kid at 16 to then be 20 to be coming out and be it with the qualifications, with the salary, what you're going to be getting, and like it's and the trades definitely aren't pushed enough.
Yeah.
You know,
£50 notes.
But I've been to your place, and it reminded me of when I went to Pimlico Plumbers. Do you know Charlie Mullins?
yeah.
So you've got at your yard a big board with all of your electricians listed, and then where they are going to be on the day. It's so impressive.
I'm bored of them.
You're not where you say you are. The board never lies.
The trackers.
But you've
Damn tracker.
I'm not at McDonald's, I promise.
you've built that up. So you say you got 40 guys now.
Yeah, just around.
How long did it take you to go from when you became your own boss
Okay. Yeah.
to get into the level of, how many years are we talking?
We've been at that level now for around, so we're about year 5. We're there.
Yeah.
So, and then we've now.
Are you still on the tools yourself?
To be honest, I do. Like, I miss being on the tools. So
Are you,
like,
are you
I love it.
admin now?
It's not got time, because I spent a day with you and you weren't off your phone. Your phone was people constantly ringing you, asking you questions. You're just running it.
And you're wasting an hour on this show for him, the poor bug whose phone's like,
There's 39 blokes just running right.
Drake, hotline bling.
I love it. Like, to be honest, you spend about 40% of your life in work, so you've got to enjoy it at least. So, like, we really try to bring that out of our staff. Try our best to make a great environment, and that's what I'm saying. Like, being you can show people what to do, and tell people what to do, but still be doing it in a kind way.
Yeah.
You don't need to be standing shouting over somebody. That only works for so long.
Each person has to be managed in a different way.
Yeah,
don't
like
you got to see how they react. to
Full-time
certain
counsellor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you might have to switch it up for 39 or 40 other blokes.
There's no
treat them all differently.
There's no.
I have to buy him
one
loads
size
of presents,
fits all.
otherwise he doesn't like me. So,
Well, the thing is,
all his kit.
A new Xbox. Yeah.
as a boss running your own company, you've got staff working for you. You obviously want to get the best out of each one of them, because they're going to earn you
like,
money.
it's trying to, like, I try to look at it like you're flipping it on its head. Where is some people get promoted and get power hungry, whereas you need to actually turn that the other way around and go, actually, my job now is, if I'm a foreman, my job now is to enable the guys under me to do their job better. That makes me look better.
Yeah.
So you're almost like helping them to do their job better. Equally, the electricians, if they're teaching their apprentice to work better, that's going to help them do their job. Yes, it takes a wee bit more time to push them on and show them, but that'll reflect on them. You'll be like, well, actually, I have the best guy.
It's like, if you have an apprentice, you got to kind of look after him as if he's like your little brother or little sister,
massively.
and just everything that you know, try and get it into them and make sure they enjoy coming to work, because teenagers and young lads and young girls won't get out of bed if they don't like what's coming in the day.
Like, I got to be honest, I was really blessed the way the guys who I worked under as an apprentice were really, really good. Actually, there's some of them work at our firm now, and like they were really, really good to be. And I've tried to take that and bring that into AG Electrical. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Have you never thought, because obviously when we spoke with Charlie, he actually had electricians as well, didn't he? Is that
So what he said was he nailed the plumbing, and then he had customers asking him if he knew an electrician. He's thinking, well, why am I recommending someone else and they're getting money? Why don't I get my own electricians, then I can get that money?
Do you know any plumbers?
Have you thought about anything like that, or are you just keeping
No, to be honest, we're purely electrical, concentrating on electrical.
Cleaning up shit. Billy's like, toss her.
Leave the real work to us,
it? So I reckon most guys and girls watching this now, imagining you're board up there with 40 guys working for you, all of them with work to do. You've done that in 5 years.
Yeah.
But then you're motivated enough to then create Tool Monster. So tell us about that.
So Tool Monster is sort of post-Brexit, Northern Ireland, mad wee country, like class.
Can't get sausages, but you get tools.
You get tools.
I like
yeah, so like post-Brexit, coming on, so the idea came up about a year and a half ago. We were with AG Electrical, we were buying in bulk, and we couldn't, as you probably knew, shipping into Northern Ireland was an absolute nightmare. But it also created opportunity. So for us, so I'm buying the table. That's interesting. So it created opportunity. Yeah. So like Northern Ireland's now, we're obviously in both markets with foothold in both markets. albeit that the not getting political, that the protocol is not perfect, but it creates massive opportunity for the likes of me exporting. So we basically were buying in bulk, and we said, look, we could do this because there was no one, especially in Northern Ireland and Ireland, there was nobody selling everything in one place. And everybody in the whole island of Ireland was struggling to get stuff. So we basically became that company now who sell all the premium tools. But we were, as I was saying, it's quite a good position to be in geographically, where we can get stuff from the UK, sell to the UK, but also sell into the EU without any customs.
Yeah, because what was happening was people were ordering stuff from the UK.
Yeah.
And then when they got it, they were getting slapped with a bill they didn't know they were going to get. Sometimes 50, 60 quid.
Yeah. So, like, for example, tool bags going out and maybe a tool bag at 160 quid and they're paying £75 on customs.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So that's really where Tool Monsters evolved from that idea. And plus, it was a good excuse to
get some decent tools.
Yeah, get some decent tools.
But you've got to be pretty motivated, because I just keep thinking that board with the 40 guys you've got working for you, that would be enough for most people. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Having a firm with 40 blokes, but then you're motivated to then do, right, we're going to make this Tool Monster company, and so you're a pretty motivated guy.
Yeah, well,
if you got 40 guys as well, you need to kit them out.
You kit them out, exactly.
Yeah. So it's clever in that sense.
Yeah, so
Billy's like, so I'll come and work for you when I get all my tools. I'll be your first plumber.
Yes. So you took the Tool Monster, that's 1.5 years in now.
Yeah, well, the idea came up about a 1.5 years ago. We're probably launched about 6 months. So we're selling to end users, and we're selling now to wholesalers as well. So a lot of our local wholesalers and stuff, we're backing them guys up as well.
Are you splitting your time 50-50 yet? Or
no,
are you still...
no. I have a good friend of mine, Ian. Brought him on board, and he's heading up Tool Monster. So yes, he's
okay.
Yeah.
So that Tool Monster, you doing hand tools, all the
we're doing
sort of premium stuff, Nipex,
Weira, Milwaukee, Unilite.
I've got a contact at Scangrip, mate. I swear.
Did you hear he said premium though, Pete? So I say.
Boddingtons, Velocity, probably missed one or two, Ox.
Yeah.
And a few others about to come on board as well. It's great. So look, it's just really class. For Northern Ireland business in general, it's massive opportunity for everybody. Albeit that the Brexit things obviously causes other problems for all our businesses. For us, speaking solely for us, it's been great.
So have you got a plan for Tool Monster? Are you trying to grow that social media?
Yeah, so we're just about with AG Electrical, with our own warehouse with a bit of extra space, so worked out great. We're about to expand that, put another level in. We're about to put a new big demo area so guys can come in and demo tools. Which is great. We're expanding on our social media. We're bringing guys on board to do that. Getting a few tips off you today there with these guys.
With the TikToks.
Yeah, the TikToks.
TikTok. You and TikTok.
You love it more than me. I've seen
I do not. How can you say that?
You were like, you've done your hair especially for it. Let's get on it. That's what you said to me when you first walked in.
You liar.
You two saw him out there. Did you see how much you love TikTok?
Yeah.
I'm going to get him a T-shirt that says "I love Tick," and then I'll have one saying "I love Tock."
You love what?
Tick and Tock. You were trying to get me to slip up there, weren't you, Peter? Too swift for you.
Let's look at these lap times.
Lap times.
Start your engine. the winner is...
Hey, what was yours last year?
8 minutes 10, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
You have done one, Pete?
I've not done one this time because I've been late every week.
We would do, but Pete turns up 3.5 hours late.
Traffic. What traffic?
Traffic and sushi, mate. Traffic and sushi.
Oh dear.
So, should we go to the Jerry Springer final thought?
Final thought. If you've got any advice you want to give to anyone watching, or if you just want to plug your social media page or your tool shop if you've got one.
Or if you want to sell a caravan.
Run back over. No, just I know it might be hard, but try and come to work because you like coming to work. So if you're struggling at the minute and you don't like the work you do, potentially look and see if you can change up or find a different job. But the main aim is to try and enjoy coming to work. And if you enjoy coming to work, then your life's going to be a whole lot better. Because
What's
you
that
spend most
saying?
of your day at work.
What's that saying? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's
Something
the
like
Roger.
that.
There we go.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the dream.
And I'm loving plumbing at the minute, so I like.
And that's
coming to
why
work.
I love plumbing.
And if you want to follow Billy on Instagram,
It's BB_the engineer.
and you also see him on my YouTube channel. Sometimes does guest spots on my YouTube.
Lovely.
Second job.
And for you, Adam?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that we tell everybody who starts at our company. It says, tell the truth, no matter what the cost.
There you go, Pete. Tell everyone you love TikTok, mate. Done.
Well, I enjoyed that. Thank you, lads.
Yeah,
No
thanks
worries.
for the invite.
Does anyone want an update on my cold showers, by the way?
He's at 4 minutes.
Done.
No,
Right. Your dog rescue training.
Yeah.
That's a class.
I'm going to update this every time I come on, but I'm at 4 minutes now. What? I'm loving it.
4 minutes, he's got no balls.
It's true. Your balls disappear after the 3rd minute.
Thanks, Pete.
And he's got some big images there.
It's nature, baby.
It's not, though, is it? I'm standing in here to see how much I could lose my genitalia.
I'm looking more into it now, though. Apparently, if you get your face wet
What? Pulling up.
in the shower, if you get your face wet first, your body reacts to that. There's something.
If your face
in
gets-
your-
Isn't it your temperature gauge at the back of your neck?
Look.
back of your neck, but your face. Once your face gets wet, the body diverts the
once-
blood to the internal organs.
Once your face gets wet, your balls don't shrink, is what you're saying.
Just take it seriously. You should try it.
What, losing my balls?
No, I'm not
I haven't
going
got any.
What? I'll do it in the summer, but it's Baltic now. Right, I'll tell you what. I'll do one in the hotel tonight and I'll film it.
Not tonight. Do it tomorrow morning.
You're going to film yourself in the shower, right?
No, you don't have to film it, mate.
Billy, make sure you get the balls.
YouTube.
It happens.
Bill, you need to do a landscape for YouTube.
No, you know when he says you make a guest appearance, say, Pete, I've got some great content for you, mate.
Cold shower or not, lad, there's no difference what's going on.
And you come out the shower, I got the face.
Right, tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Roger.
tomorrow morning. See how long you can do.
We all need an update on this, on the Insta stories. Pete, I've done it. I beat yours. I did 6.5 minutes, mate. That really get him.
Honestly, mate, if you can get to 4 minutes, it's like a walnut.
Just the one wall.
Just the Right, cheers, boys.
Cheers very much.
Right, done.
Beasley Workwear now proudly sponsors Trade Legends.